This presentation will focus on predictions for the future from the 20th and 21st century. In my business class one day, we were having a discussion based on predicting the future. This made me think about the ways in which people come up with these predictions. The first question I will focus on will be, to what extent do memories affect the way in which people make predictions for the future? The other question I will focus on is, to what extent do past emotions affect how people make predictions for the future? The first part of my presentation will focus on the 20th century, specifically the early 1930s to the late 1960s. Isaac Asimov was a professor of biochemistry at Boston University. He also worked in the realm of science fiction and wrote many science books. At the 1964 New York City World's Fair, he made some predictions about what the world would look like in the year 2014. Asimov stated, "Robots will neither be common nor very good in 2014, but they will be in existence." He based his predictions on perceptions he had that scientists were not successful in their endeavors during this time. Asimov's next prediction was, the appliances of 2014 will have no electric cords, of course, for they will be powered by long-lived batteries running on radioisotopes. During the 1960s and 1970s, the world was focused on modernization. Therefore, Asimov created this prediction based on the emotions surrounding the modern world. Asimov's final prediction stated, "Wall screens will have replaced the ordinary set, but transparent cubes will be making their appearance in which three-dimensional viewing will be possible." He based this prediction off of the advancing auto industry and his emotions relating to advancing society. Sir Arthur C. Clarke was a popular science fiction writer, but perhaps he is most famous for being the co-writer of the popular film 2001: Space Odyssey, which deals with space travel as well as human evolution and ties closely in with the idea of predicting the future. In this video, Clarke is stating some of his predictions for the 21st century.
Let's start by looking at the city of the future. Some people think that it will be like this. And they're quite right. In fact, everything you see now already exists. All the materials, all the ideas, these things can be put into practice immediately. But what about the city of the day after tomorrow? Say the year 2000. I think it will be completely different. In fact, it may not even exist at all. Oh, I'm not thinking of the atom bomb and the next Stone Age. I'm thinking of the incredible breakthrough which has been made possible by developments in communications, particularly the transistor and, above all, the communications satellite. These things will make possible a world in which we can be in instant contact with each other, wherever we may be, where we can contact our friends anywhere on Earth, even if we don't know their actual physical location. It will be possible in that age, perhaps only 50 years from now, for a man to conduct his business from Tahiti or Bali just as well as he could from London. In fact, if it proves worthwhile, almost any executive skill, any administrative skill, even any physical skill, could be made independent of distance. I am perfectly serious when I suggest that one day we may have brain surgeons in Edinburgh operating on patients in New Zealand. When that time comes, the whole world will have shrunk to a point, and the traditional role of the city as a meeting place for man would have ceased to make any sense. In fact, Men will no longer commute, they will communicate. They won't have to travel for business anymore, they'll only travel for pleasure.
Walter Cronkite was the host of the popular CBS show The 21st Century, which aired during the 1960s.
This might be part of the kitchen in the home of the future. Preparation of a meal in the 21st century could be almost fully automatic. Frozen or irradiated foods are stored in that area over there. Meals in this kitchen of the future are programmed. The menus given to the automatic chef by a typewriter or punched computer cards. The proper pre-packaged ingredients are conveyed from the storage area and moved into this microwave oven where they are cooked in seconds. When the meal is done, the food comes out here. When my meal's ready, instead of reaching for a stack of plates, I just punch a button, and the right amount of cups and saucers are molded on the spot. When I've finished eating, there'll be no dishes to wash. The used plates will be melted down again, the leftovers destroyed in the process, and the melted plastic will be ready to be molded into clean plates when I need them next.
This show proves that CBS felt that they had to be on the next level in order to be successful. This part of the presentation will focus on predictions made from the 21st century about the future. Thomas Frey, popular for his views on the future and editor of the Futurist magazine, recently made predictions about what he thinks the world would look like in the year 2030. Frey's first prediction states that by 2030, over 90% of all restaurants will use some form of a 3D food printer in their meal preparations. Frey used his past knowledge and memory on the advancement of 3D printers in the past years to make this prediction that they will be more commonplace by the year 2030. Frey's next prediction states that by 2030, over 80% of all doctor visits will have been replaced by automated exams. Frey makes his prediction based on the emotions and memories surrounding the idea of visiting the doctor. How confusing and unorganized most people feel this is, he makes the prediction that it will be automated in the future. Frey's final prediction states that by 2030, a Chinese company will become the first to enter the space tourism industry by establishing regular flights to their space hotel. Frey makes this prediction based on his knowledge of the Chinese being a global powerhouse, as well as the commodification of space travel. Frey believes, through his memory and emotion, that space traveling will become more popular in the future. This video makes other predictions about the future.
3. There's a chance that science will beat cancer, Alzheimer's, maybe even aging itself if this man is right. He says it's 50-50 that we'll abolish aging by the time Megan is 21. If this does happen, the world will become even more crowded than current predictions suggest. By 2050, lucky then that by 2060 there'll be life on Mars if NASA predictions come true. Cars won't run on petrol according to Shell, and the ozone layer may even have finally recovered. As the 22nd century begins and she enters her 90s, what will the world be like? She probably won't live in a village anymore, as 4 out of 5 people will live in cities. She'll be one of anywhere between 9 and 12 billion global citizens. That's according to the UN, which may not even exist in 2100. Based on the way prices have risen over the last century, the last pint of milk she ever buys will cost her 50 quid.
To answer both my research questions and the thoughts I had during my business class, memory and emotion play a big role in how people predict the future. Through landmark events, and past advancements in society, as well as the feelings surrounding these events and advancements. A person makes a prediction based on their memories and emotions for what they believe the future entails.